got some requests to do some more videos with just kind of going through some sounds. So I'm eating some food. I don't even know if you can see this. Wait, hold on. There you go, you can see that. So ground turkey, sauteed onion, cherry tomatoes, fresh lettuce, and some Gouda cheese melted in there. So just having a little late night snack. And this is really good stuff. Definitely not a spokesperson, but sparkling water, essentially just carbonated flavored water, you know, no sugar, no nothing. But strawberries killer. The Jim Gaffigan routine. He said that, what was it? Strawberry flavored stuff is better than actual strawberries. I think I agree with Jim. So just doing some more GarageBand. Still waiting to install a new copy of Logic. So still going through GarageBand stuff, going through sounds. It's incredible what they load on here. This is under the arpeggiator folder. There's a bunch of stuff. This is synth layers. And then they just literally have all this stuff. This is called droplets. That's incredible. You know, I watch a lot of anime shows right now with my daughter. She's a really great artist, and she finds a lot of inspiration from anime, so I really enjoy watching it with her. And I noticed there's a lot of there's a lot of really great music, but there's some underscore that's literally just very creative people using, stuff like this, like GarageBand, with not even knowing how to play an instrument. Like, I could literally take one finger and do that. So there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Galactic layers. You combine that with, you know, a little bit of knowledge of some voicings and piano, and all of a sudden you've got some really great stuff. You know, it's kind of a double-edged sword for musicians. I mean, there's never been a better time to be a musician, I think. Well, I don't know about that. Maybe that's 100% accurate, maybe that's 0% accurate. But the tools available for musicians, that's certainly, we're in a real renaissance right now for that. So it's really great for musicians because we can use those tools to create. But on the other side of the coin, it's also not good because people that wouldn't generally be considered, how do I say this, you know, air quotes, trained musicians, let's say, people with an affinity for music, they like music, and they have a computer and a keyboard or something. Anybody with patches like this, anybody can really do this kind of stuff. So I think that's good because I think ultimately it motivates everybody to do better. So, wow. That one has a drum beat. That's crazy. At that point, you don't even need to really record anything. Like, let's say that I had another, you know, I hooked up another small MIDI keyboard or something for right hand, like up here. I could literally just hold down one finger and then play over the top of it with just, you know, the right hand, like a single line melody. That's cool. accept multiple input. It's just a single note kind of a thing. Yeah, same with that. Wow, synth chords. So a lot of this stuff is just single note, I guess because it's already set up to do chordal realizations. Interesting. Wow, look at this. Okay, well, here's some synth-based stuff. I don't know if I've checked this folder out yet, but I do like some of the synth. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is all arpeggiated stuff, which makes sense because I am in the arpeggiator folder. Okay, what happened I checked out? World. Wow, there's a lot of stuff. 3 violins. So that's really that still remains the holy grail, right? Is an accurate reproduction of an acoustic instrument. I guess thankfully for acoustic musicians, we still haven't got there yet. We're getting close. I mean, you know, programs like Finale, notation software, those are definitely getting closer with a lot of that Garrett and orchestra patches. That's fun to write with, but oops, just dropped a tomato. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we won't ever get there, so that there will be space for people that actually know how to play an acoustic instrument. But I'm glad there's both. Let's see. Textures. Ooh. Cinematic textures. Atmosphere processor. That's cool. I could spend days just going through these sounds. I probably should. Oh man. I don't know if this is really fundamentally pleasing. Wow. So this is where I miss. So here's the difference. I know you guys can't see what I'm looking at on the screen, but something like this patch, it's called Transition FX. Right? It's got a different sound for every note on the keyboard so far. I don't know where the range ends yet, but and for people that are really familiar with GarageBand, I could be totally off on this, but I know that in Logic, if you select the patch, you can bring up a MIDI match on the a MIDI map on the bottom, and it'll actually show you a vertical representation of a piano keyboard. Right, so normally you're looking like this, so the piano keyboard would be like that. And you can see the names of each individually assigned note on the keyboard, so that saves a lot of time. So with GarageBand, one of the benefits of GarageBand, I think, is the fact that it's so instantaneously user-friendly, but that's also one of its biggest drawbacks, is because you don't have that level of data and control. So I'll probably wait to go through some of that stuff when I get, when I reinstall Logic. Well, this is all really cool. I'm going to go back to a regular keyboard sound, though, because I miss playing. Would be good. Synthesizers or keyboards? Wow, that's a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna go keyboards. Maybe I'll go back to the organs folder, because even though it doesn't have sustain on most of these organ patches, they can be so fun. But I got to pop these up. Yeah, so I haven't played this tune in so long. Yeah, I need more of like a Leslie. Plus, that's not loud enough. That's fun though. Yeah, this folder is not a jazz organ patch. It's mostly just, it's a lot of good stuff though. Yeah, that's not one of them. What do we got? Oh, so So that's cool. I mean, even GarageBand has some stuff where you can like, I don't know anything about organ stops, which is why I'm not going to start playing around with that right now, but that's cool. These are pretty good patches. Every time I say patches, though, I can't help think of that joke. Patches, badges. You don't need no stinking badges. Okay, I can't be too loud because I am the only one awake right now in my house. So, whoa. That's a little distorted, but I could probably play around with the filters on that. Another weird thing is in GarageBand, every time you go, at least in the organ folder, every time you go in between a different patch, this is not the case in Logic, prompt comes up where you have to, it's telling you that it's switching like internal routing, and then you have to actually accept that and press continue. So that's a little bit of a pain. I don't know why that's present in GarageBand and not in Logic. 80s thin organ. Oh, so there's an organ that accepts sustain pedal. Excuse me. That's too easy. That's like the equivalent of a musical dad joke. It's like a really in-your-face organ patch. It's almost as if it's saying, I'm undeniably an organ patch. Maybe a little bit more subtlety would be called for in that one. But it is, part of the title is 80s, so you gotta love it. Best decade. That was called Plain and Simple. That was pretty plain and simple. That could be nice. Oh, so there's one that you actually have to put it back in the normal. Oh, that's pretty limited. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of choices in there. Warped organs. Okay, so that's just a patch with a bunch of reverb. Huh. All right, I'm gonna go back to old standby. Maybe some kind of like electric piano. Ooh, okay. Maybe I'll just play around. How are we doing on time? Sometimes I think that some of these more subtle ballad patches, you really should have headphones on for, because there's so much going on inside the sound that I can't really hear even with nice monitor speakers. Oh, too bad. This, yeah, it's like a real, that's, you know, that's close to a Rhodes. It's a classic Mark IV, which is too bad because if you switch the 1 and the or the I and the V, and you get mark 6. I really wanted to like that one more. Yes, that's a good one. So for those of you still watching or jumping in at a random spot, thank you for sticking around, or thank you for checking it out, but I'm probably just gonna play around with some voicings. By the way, a good chair. I recently picked up a new chair for my office. Super cheap, actually. I got it at Office Depot, of all places. I couldn't believe how cheap it was and how much more comfortable than the chair I used to have in here was. And it's got a lot of adjustability and a lot of it's got like a cushion up here, and it's got a cushion in the lower back, and it really helps because, you know, as with everybody, my body is totally falling apart as I get older. I have a lot of issues everywhere. So a good office chair is certainly a good investment. Yeah, it's the beauty of, I've covered some of this in some of my jazz pedagogy videos. I'm totally experimenting with just doing a little bit more of a freeform. Obviously, I don't have anything planned, or really don't have a point for these, but I found it almost therapeutic to know that, well, I don't know that anybody's going to be listening to this, but I don't know, this is what I do all the time when I'm by myself anyway. So, I don't know. Maybe if there's some value, comedic or otherwise, for at least one other person on the planet, then posting something like this is worth it. So, what was I going to say? Oh, so 2 5s. That's one of the most fun things, I think, for me to do when I'm just kind of hanging out and not even really practicing, but just playing. Sometimes I literally just string 2 5s together with, there's no relationship between any of them. And sometimes, you know, if you quiet your mind and you allow, who knows what's happening, you know, with where creativity is based or what energy it taps into, but sometimes if you kind of just allow yourself to be guided and try not to get in your own way, sometimes you come up with something very nice, and there could be a tune in there, or it could just be a snippet or a sound or a voicing or a melody. You could start playing other tunes, and then that'll kick into something that, you know, you yourself want to explore. I think melodic minor, the best sounding root position minor major 7 for me is A flat. I don't know what it is about that key and that particular sound, but it's so much more satisfying either than just like a half step below. Still sounds great, right? Whole step, well, back to A flat. Half step above, A, all good, but there's something for me. A flat just really resonates. That's another kind of, I wish somebody would have sat me down when I was younger and just shared some of these like really basic tips or tricks. I don't know if they're really even tricks. They might be tricks. They're certainly valid. So yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe my second thought, maybe I don't wish that, because sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time, discovering something for yourself is probably the best way to do it. But it would have been nice to have a little bit more awareness, and that's probably my own fault because I didn't pursue. Well, I was pursuing other things. Wind instruments take up so much time. You know, you don't really get to a lot of the technique stuff until much later on wind instruments because you have to worry about sound. You know, producing a sound is like, that's one of the beauties of a keyboard, is that, you know, apart from like really advanced, you talk to a really high level piano player, they can get a tone out of like, you know, a real piano with their touch, all that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about basically, you know, you can take a finger and produce a sound. So a lot of times piano players are the ones that have the most extensive harmonic knowledge the earliest. So I don't even know how I got there, but chordal voicings with a Q, Q-U-A-R-T-A-L, they sound so good. Once you get that into that muscle memory into your hands, it's like it almost feels like cheating, you know, because you can really put, as long as you're resolving in the right spot. You can do whatever you want. It's really just parallel planing, you know, with these chordal voicings, especially with a good patch on an electric keyboard. Yeah, it's really fun to do, and then you can kind of, you know, use that as a basis for. There's a lot of internal hidden voicings inside, like a standard chordal voicing. You can do, you know, alterations. So if I take the internal 3 notes, this is C minor. So I've got like a C chordal voicing, C, F, B flat, E flat, and G. The only notes that are not a fourth apart are the top 2, you know, which is a major third, but you've got a fourth, 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 which is why the chordal nomenclature. But so if you take the internal part of that and just go down a half step with the bottom note, all of a sudden you've got a really classic sharp 9. I mean, that's the classic sharp 9 voicing, right? Third, flat 7, sharp 9. Depending on what hand you're doing it, whether you're playing bass. Then you can add like a flat 13 because it's right next to the flat 7. You know, you can transfer it up to the left hand and so, you know, normal, like dominant kind of a thing, or fully altered. And there's another magic thing about chord voicings. Totally losing my train of thought, but when you're on one chord voicing, it's really easy to resolve to another chord voicing, especially one that's down a perfect fifth. Okay, I'm not going to subject anybody else to more of my eating, so I'm going to finish my snack and continue practicing. Thanks for checking it out. If anybody is still watching at all, hope you have a good night. Bye.